Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me. We've got a Nations Cup game today between Team Sweden and Team Spain. This is an important one for Team USA, although my rooting interest in it is a tad complicated. So let's get into it. It's a team game, so we will run this at double speed. Um, and so we'll be watching from Team Sweden's side today. They are the USSR. So let us get right into it. And here we have Sweden's hand, and it is I don't know if it's quite a monster, but if it's not, it's damn close. We've got 3 4 ups. We've got Purge Blockade. We've got Nasser, which is nice. We've got Truman, which is great to have. You can get that out of the game early and then fight for West Germany if we decide to go with a Purge here. NORAD can go to space, and US Japan can be held. So this is an excellent starting hand for Team Sweden. And interestingly, they're thinking about going 4-5 in the setup, which could lead Spain to go 4-3-3. We will see. It's also possible that I may have to take a work call in the middle of the stream. If that happens, I'm going to go ahead and mute my microphone, take the call, but I'll leave the game running so folks can continue to watch the game. So I was talking about my rooting interest in this one. Team USA finished group play 1-1-1. And so Spain right now is 1-1. Belarus is 1-1, and then of course Sweden 0-0-1. If Sweden wins this game, Spain will then be eliminated. And so our hope is that, very interesting. Sweden decides to go with Nasser instead of Purge. Purge Blockade I thought would be pretty tempting, but they go with Nasser to preserve their ops. So, okay. But yes, Team Sweden, if Sweden wins both of their games, we are in. Team USA is in into the next round. If if Sweden loses both of their games, so if Spain wins this one and then Belarus beats them as well, Team USA is out. And if they split the two games, then the U.S. As the U.S. we need their Sweden's win to come no earlier than their loss. So we will see how that goes. So the best outcome here is a Sweden victory in final. Next best outcome is a quick Sweden win. Then the next best outcome after that is a quick Sweden loss, and finally a Sweden loss in final would be a disaster. A Sweden win in final would guarantee that Team USA would make the next round, barring a tie in the final game between Sweden and Belarus. So, as it is, quite a bit has happened. So, Sweden was surprised Sweden didn't go with a Purge. They do on AR1, and Spain decides to immediately dump Europe scoring, which makes sense. However, then Sweden decides to coup Iran before Spain gets out of there and rolls a perfect 6. Then Spain understandably decides they need to go ahead and take Lebanon for Middle East presence. After which time Sweden goes to space and beats Spain there. Interestingly, Spain had captured Nazi. So a great hand here for Team Sweden, but not terrible for Spain as well. They wound up with they got Europe off for 5. They had captured Nazi as well. And of course, they headlined Marshall. So the only 4-op remaining in the deck is NATO, which is active. So a good decision here to get rid of Truman. So a lot to do here for Spain in their 3 ARs. They need to get a coup in. They presumably need to get to at least Malaysia, if not Thailand. Oh, and they're just, yeah, they got to give Fidel. Okay, and they fill Philippines, which is a little bit confusing. I'm not sure why they did that. Perhaps they didn't want to go Malaysia because Sweden did not have Asia Dom. Perhaps Spain has Vietnam. So yeah, blockade here on AR5 makes sense. And the only remaining 4-op that's not accounted for is NATO. We'll see if Spain has it. It's also worth noting that the 4-5 setup allowed Spain to go 3-3-2 in their setup, as opposed to the usual 3-2-3 in Europe, which signals Marshall. Perhaps if Sweden had set up 4-4-1, we would have seen the traditional Marshall setup, and you could have just gotten a purge headline off, but understandably they didn't want to deal with defectors. Okay, and there's Korean War. Oh, and the war hits, and they go one back into South Korea. Okay, so quite a rough turn here. Despite having Marshall and getting off Europe, scoring and captured Nazi, Fidel is not a card you want to give up turn one. Oh, they did have NATO. Very interesting. So they had NATO, they coup. Wow. That is very interesting. So Spain could have discarded to that blockade, decided to maintain their 4-op. Now, usually when that happens in the early war, it's because they are holding an unspaceable decall. But clearly they weren't, because Sweden just picked up decall and destall in their hand. So decall and duck is awesome here. The one thing that's not awesome is that defectors is unaccounted for and is an excellent headline here for Sweden. So we may not see decall in the headline, but a decall headline into Lao followed by duck coup is huge. Okay, so they just decided to go with a Romanian headline, and CIA is not Spain not going to like what they see here with decall, destall, duck, and Asia. Rough start to the game here for Team Spain, as everything going Sweden's way at this particular moment. So remember, as the U.S., I would like to see Sweden win this game, but I want it to take as long as humanly possible to give us the best chance of advancing. So I don't know what the heck you do with CIA here. You could just go Malaysia. I don't think you want a coup with CIA. You could go Malaysia. You could go Pakistan, but then Pakistan might just get couped. Oh, boy. Filling Iran does nothing. Putting one in West Germany doesn't do anything either, because Truman's gone, and Spain, we know Spain doesn't have a 4-op. There are no 4-ops left in the deck at the moment. Looks like we got 7 viewers for this one, but no chatters. Hope somebody... Who's watching today? Who's watching this morning? Or this afternoon? Hello. Thank you for chatting. Oh, hey, Anton? Anton can answer that, but I believe Anton Scott is playing for Sweden. Can be pretty convinced here that Captain Anton Scott's playing for Sweden. Okay, so we see the one goes into Pakistan. That makes sense. Now I wonder what we're going to see from Team Sweden. This is This might be a little bit of a tough call. So a Pakistan coup makes sense with Asia in hand. You could do a Pakistan coup with Duck, which concedes 3 VP, but denies Millops, unless, of course, Spain has IP war, which both gets the Millops and could flip Pakistan while it's just sitting there naked. So I don't know if that's a great play. But of course, doing anything else, doing anything that's not cooing Pakistan and India, basically concedes both countries and makes it very difficult to get domination, even with decall. So this is a very certainly this is an excellent hand. Sweden can't complain about this hand, but it's a little bit tricky how you're going to play this, especially with Spain knowing everything that Sweden has. Yeah, I think I like a duck coup somewhere. The question is where. Now, duck coup of Pakistan, you've got a coup first, and so it gives up 3 VPs. Duck coup in Iran or Panama, you only have to concede 2. And indeed, they do go Panama, roll a 1. So really didn't matter where they cooed. That wasn't going to do anything. So an interesting play last turn by Team Spain. They decided not to discard their 4-op to blockade. Instead used it to coup. And that is, at the moment, is looking like a great decision. Because Spain has gotten a foothold into Western Asia. Okay, so now Spain wants to put maximum pressure on Team Sweden because they know that they've got decall, destall, and Asia. Yeah, so two Thailand with destall is interesting. It's painful. You don't want to do that. You'd much rather use decall to secure Thailand, but of course decall can only get 1 in there, and presumably Spain will have a 3-op to take it. So instead they go 2 Thailand and 2 into South America, which makes sense. Spain now with the opportunity to potentially take Venezuela, or more likely we'll see probably 1 Venezuela, 1 Zaire. Indonesia, an interesting... Turn 1 definitely didn't finish in 2 minutes, I don't think. I've been on the air for 15 minutes now. Okay, so a UN of de Gaulle, which is fine. They blockade is gone. Okay, got one Venezuela, 1 Zaire, 1 Indonesia. That's exactly what I would have done. And I think Team Spain now will want to, Sweden will want to establish Asia Dom. Or no, they decide not to. Yeah, I don't think Sweden is going to be able to score Asia Dom here. So yeah, and it's interesting. I think the Panama coup here, as Anton says, really decided the turn completely at 2 in Panama, leaves South America free for destall, and you could just put the 2 in there and destall at your leisure. Instead, they roll a 1, which allows Spain to get into South America and really interfere with things. So a terrible start to the game in general on the board for Team Spain, but they especially with decall and destall in Sweden's hand. But that was a huge 1 for Sweden to roll, and they have to concede 2 VPs besides. So okay, Sweden decides to take Brazil, which makes perfect sense. And then instead of establishing Asia Dom, they go 1 Iran to threaten Pakistan, which makes sense also. So yeah, because they could establish Asia Dom by going Lao, but that would be countered by one Pakistan or one Malaysia. Obviously, for those of you just tuning in, sounds like some of you are just tuning in. CIA was triggered, was headlined by Spain this turn, so they know Sweden's entire hand. They know, of course, that Sweden doesn't have the war, and they know they do have Asia. So obviously we're going to see one Pakistan here. The question is, what else will we see? Yep, JR, I covered this at the top of the broadcast, but the number one preferred outcome for Team USA is a Sweden win in final. Our second choice would be a quicker Sweden win. Our third choice would be a quick Sweden loss. And our fourth choice would be Sweden losing in final. The nightmare scenario is Sweden losing in final. So it's a little bit complicated. We want Sweden to, if they're going to win slowly. And if they're going to lose, we want them to get blown out. Team USA members are selected by, Craig Richards was the president of Team USA until he recently left. And I think initially there was a vote in the first year of Team USA that predated my joining the community. And then after that, it was the existing team members kind of voted on potential new team members, or change in circumstances dictated some of the changes. So it's been a little bit loosey goosey. So we will see. But it has been a tad loosey goosey, and no, we don't pick whoever votes for Trump the most times. Although we do have a considerable Texan influence on the team with Michael and Thomas Coverdale. David DiCarlo was on the team in its first year, I believe, but has not been on the team since. Okay, here's going to be a 2-op play for AI War. Going to just take India. That makes sense, and then Sweden's going to dump Asia's scoring. 5-year plan could have been an interesting event to hang on to. It would be a good event to trigger right here. But obviously there was a ton to do with ops there, and I assume that Spain did not have the luxury of the event. 3 ops also very valuable. But okay, Asia scored for just 1 for Team Sweden. So despite decall and destall, they only got the scoring off for 1. I think the key there was obviously the CIA headline from Spain, the key 1 in Panama, forcing Sweden to fight in South America. And then on top of that, of course, the lack of defectors, the presence of defectors in the draw deck, which meant Sweden wasn't going to headline decall. So, okay. Here we go. And then Sweden, of course, wants to get decall back on the deck and hold on to U.S.-Japan. So they overprotect Thailand, which makes sense. 1 Algeria, 1 Nigeria also makes sense. And then a break of Zaire. All of this is perfectly logical. So Sweden holds on to the China card and holds on to U.S.-Japan. Yes, Alex, the Sweden did blockade Spain. They purge blockaded them on turn 1. Purge was actually not the headline. It was the AR1 play after a Nasser headline. And then Spain, for their part, could have discarded a 4-op and decided not to. They decided to coup with the 4-op instead, and they got into Iran with it. That looks at the moment like a great decision. Because I'm assuming the card they were holding on to was Vietnam, given that they took Philippines AR1, which is, on turn 1, not AR1. That was an extremely weird play. It would have been an extremely weird play unless they knew they were going to have to concede Vietnam. But they decided to lose West Germany instead, or rather empty West Germany. West Germany is still contested. So I think it turned out to be a good decision. Now we'll see who winds up with West Germany. But here we are. We've got an extremely blue hand, all blue cards other than Olympic Games. Duck in hand along with 5-year plan. So Olympics is safe here, and I can only assume that's the headline. I think I prefer Olympics here. Okay, Middle East. Yep. So Middle East was known. That's an easy 4 for Team Sweden. That was only going to get worse. Okay, Independent Reds, it's free at the moment. So yeah, I think a 2-op coup of Zaire makes sense. So the Defectors headline saves a VP. So I guess that's +1. Olympic Games is +1. I believe the calculation there is +1 1/4. So Defectors was obviously getting triggered with this hand. So you save a VP there versus a VP and a quarter with Olympics. But obviously you could lose Olympics. Okay, a 4-op redraw, and they decide to go to Venezuela, to West Germany, which makes sense. Both those countries were contested. Truman is out of the deck. So obviously, Team Sweden will want to space Duck. They don't have to do it immediately, though. Containment is also known in Sweden's hand, along with U.S.-Japan. U.S.-Japan is an important card because that is the 3rd battleground in Asia. So after U.S.-Japan, a poke of a Korea would give the U.S. domination. And you're not going to be able to space U.S.-Japan here unless you get double space. So we'll see how they handle it. Okay, this I suspect will just take West Germany. Okay, yep. And so Spain reestablishes Europe Dom. This to me would be a good time to space. You know that Spain knows you have Duck and cover. Or rather, actually, no, never mind. They do not. Duck is a redraw. They don't know. Okay, so this makes sense too. To make sure you don't get hit with realigns in South. Protecting Zaire does make sense as well. Although Spain will want to go Panama. They'll want to put 1 in Panama. They'll want to put 2 in Mexico. I like getting 1 into Libya here. I know Middle East is scored, but I really hate Sadat losing me Libya. But we'll see what we have ops for. Obviously, AR, we will see a space of Duck. U.S.-Japan, I think, is going to have to be triggered, and then containment will be triggered. Wonder if we'll see U.S.-Japan overprotect the Koreas. We could also see a U.S.-Japan jam Japan, which is a play that worked very well for Ted and me in our game against Team Washington. Okay, Burma is interesting. A little confused by that. It is a good IP war modifier on India, but Pakistan's still open for a 5 or a 6. Okay, there goes Duck. So Sweden will probably want to space twice if they can. We'll see if Spain spaces now to stop the double. Yep, they're going to space, and they will hit. Okay. Yeah, this is the more sensible play, is that one, because once you give Japan a poke in a Korea gives Dom. So you're going to, yeah, I like this. I like this. Other players will say, no, it's scored, don't worry about it. I like getting 1 into Libya. I think that's fine. and then I would use containment AR6 to take Chile and Argentina. That would be my play. So there goes. Yeah, if you win Olympic Games in the headline, you're +1. If you lose, you're +3. Yes, 0 is better. Of course, you're much more likely to win than lose. But the point is taken. It's fair. Okay, AR6. Now the question obviously becomes here: do you dump containment with 5-year plan, or you do hold 5-year plan into the mid-war, where it could be great for you. You dump Europe with it, but could also do more harm than good. An age-old question. I've seen both ways work, and I've seen both ways absolutely just bite you right in the butt. Interesting. Going to take Libya. I might have been fine with just the one. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't want. Okay. Yeah, the third in Brazil does make sense. You don't want to get that poked. That's very annoying. You don't want Libya, and you don't want Libya to be open if Sadat is headlined turn 4. So, okay. All right. There goes Suez. So we'll see 4 ops here. I like Israel. Yeah, I like this. Doesn't stop Europe down, but I think that's okay. I like getting rid of Israel here. Interesting. Okay. Going to stop Europe dom and force the repair of 1 in UK. Okay. So let's take a look at the board. Sweden leads by 3 VPs. Central looks good, looks better for Spain, but roughly even there, Spain ahead on battlegrounds. South America favors Team Sweden, but because of that critical 1 in Panama, Spain's got a foothold there. Africa looks better for Sweden. Middle East looks better for Sweden, but it is scored. Asia is a dead heat, and then of course Spain with Europe domination. So I think fair to say I would rather be. Oh, interesting. They do not repair the UK and instead go into Greece to protect Italy from Brush. So I think I'd rather be Sweden here, but only by a little bit. I think there's definitely a path here back for Spain. Very easy path back. You just need to steal a couple of coups. But this hand, quite nice for Team Sweden. They've got Purge if they want to use it. And in fact, they might have to because of Missile Envy. This would not be a great Purge hand, but they could also go Libs and then immediately score Central for a big number. Oh, and there's Missile Envy. So a huge, huge Purge headline. Libs would have been tempting there. Libs was very tempting there, but obviously Missile Envy was a concern, and instead they hit Spain with their second Purge of the day. So that's huge. Okay, interesting. They're going to give up EEU instead of arms race. That makes sense because you're probably going to just take a 2-op coup here on Angola, let Spain refill Algeria, then you can score arms race. Yep, okay. And they take the coup. They hit the roll just enough. So I assume Spain will want to fill up Algeria, perhaps South Africa as well. Yep, and they're eating a purge. So yeah, libs here makes sense. And under purge, there's no way Spain will be able to protect both, barring, of course, VOA. But VOA would be far more useful in Africa. VOA would be absolutely devastating in Africa. Okay, just a one-op play. I suspect Spain would have wanted to play that for ops, but instead they have to use it to secure Mexico. Okay, now Sweden decides, so they could. Okay, so Sweden locks up Panama and gets two into South Africa, which makes sense. They're not worried about an Angola flip with Spain under purge. Yes. So I was initially thinking, yes, why not take Dom and Central? You have the scoring, but you also have arms race. So I suspect what Sweden wants to do is they want to get arms race off, take Dom with C5, then score Central, and so you can get both. So I think. So yeah, I think you want to make sure that Spain's not going to coup here. Okay, Pope event is nice, but not going to do anything at the moment. Oh, they dump Central. Little confused by that. I think I would have triggered arms race there for 3 VP instead of Central for 2. Okay, there goes arms race. Okay. So they decide not to take Dom. Now, I think yep. And Anton's right. Dom in Central America is worth 2 points, but giving Spain mill ops is also worth 2 points. Now, of course, Spain's got to find 2 ops to coup with, and now they can use those 2 ops for something else. But so can we, and I assume we want to use those 2 ops to take South Africa or take Chile, maybe get into Saudi. Okay, an overprotected West Germany might suggest a Willy play coming up, or just a unwillingness to get get West Germany jammed. Ooh, interesting. China card jam into Venezuela is a little strange, but I guess I can see it. I think I would personally rather lock up my own battlegrounds before I start attacking theirs. I also don't know that there's a need to use China here. Okay. So no opportunity for mill-ops here, unless, of course, Spain has ABM, brush. Okay, there's one small step. I think I might just take South Africa here with 5-year plan. I don't know. Ooh. That's interesting. That's an interesting play. Little surprised we're holding on to 5-year plans so tightly. Europe, the only bad region at the moment. But yeah, okay. Still, though, a flip of Japan doesn't change the domination situation. You'd still be down in country count in Asia 7-6, even if you fully flipped it. But obviously, it is 3 VPs. Oh, and there's VOA. Oh man. Wow, VOA could have been used in Africa. But yeah, that's a nice VOA. So good on Team Sweden for quickly when they secured Panama getting 2 into South Africa. If they had not done that, certainly Spain would have triggered VOA right there and taken them out of Nigeria, Zaire, and Angola with no path back in. So how I learned is interesting. Protects Thailand. South African unrest would have been good too. Sets up. Well, no, wouldn't set up domination. But okay. Well, Spain decides to coup with junta anyway, so kind of defeats the purpose of how I learned, because Sweden's just going to keep it at 2 anyway. So yeah, I think you cannot allow a China flip of Thailand with Southeast Asia to come, and you can't allow a flip of Argentina. So I think it's right. So you allow the Angola play, and then you trigger South African unrest to be a little bit annoying, and then. What's great here is 5-year plan and Sadat. You can space alliance, even though it's only 2 VPs. Space it to try to get the 2 VPs there, and then at the end of the turn, you 5-year plan Sadat and take Egypt right back, barring, of course, a Camp David play by Spain, which would be a good play if they have it. Yep, and this makes sense. So a South African play now is not really good. You've got to play Che here, but this is an excellent Che. Sets up domination in South America. It stops domination in Africa, and it gives you the inside track to Nigeria. So that's a very, very strong Che, even though you lose Angola. So you could use Alliance. Oh, Brush. Huge here. And they missed the roll. Oh, a full strength Brush. JR, I hope you're watching. A full strength Brush on Brazil, which really could have changed the outcome of this game. And they missed the roll. Huge moment in this contest. That would have evened up South America. Instead, Spain remains ahead with domination and threatening. Sweden remains ahead and threatening control. Oh, JR's not playing in this game. I just hoped he was watching, because JR is famous for missing brush wars. Okay, and Sweden then spaces alliance, and they hit the roll. So plus 2 VPs there as well. Oh, sorry. Yes, of course. I missed the joke, Alex. But yes, JR probably rolled that. Okay. So here we are, AR5. South African unrest makes sense still, even though Africa's scored. I would still just put 2 in Angola here just to be annoying. Then you've got a 1-op play with Summit. That could presumably realign Venezuela or just go 1 Japan. Yep. And we don't have the ops to flip that, so we'll try the realigns. I think a 1-op realign is fine here. Oh, and they hit the roll. Huge. Okay. So I criticize I criticized Sweden's decision to play China and hold 5-year plan a little bit. But they are getting great use out of 5-year plan here. They're going to be able to take Egypt back, or at least get 2 into Egypt, and maybe take Venezuela for South America control with Sadat here. So their decision to hold 5-year plan pays off. Cultural still around to potentially get them China back. There's AI war. Oh, just not quite enough. And a coup of Colombia. Yeah, so now I think you have to take control. So yeah, you trigger 5-year plan. And probably take Venezuela. They might just do Venezuela 1 Colombia, so that a poke doesn't stop both dom and control. And then go 1 Egypt. I think my plan would have been just 3 Egypt to take it back, but Middle East just scored, South America isn't, and you've got a shot to pick up 10 or 8 or 10 VPs here. So yeah, this is clearly the play. Then 1 there, yep, for sure. I think I like Venezuela, Colombia, and Egypt. I think that is the play that I like. Okay, OAS headline makes that play look like a good one. So Sweden still with domination in Central. And here's another nice hand for Sweden. They don't get South America scoring, which I think is the scoring that they very much wanted. But OPEC should be a nice 3. If they can get Venezuela back, maybe more. We will bury you is quite a reasonable headline here. Junta is gone. Brush is gone. So 2 power cards so far for Spain. And there's ABM. So Sweden has purged Spain twice, but Spain's drawn all 3 power cards. Of course, they've rolled poorly on the first 2. Let's see how they rolled on this one. Missile Envy is gone. I think this is just an Argentina coup. Right? No reason to do anything other than cooing Argentina, I don't think. Yep, and they hit the roll this time. So they miss on the others, but they hit this one. Okay. So I think Muslim or Brezhnev to take Venezuela and Egypt makes sense to me here. I think I definitely want to get OPEC off. The Muslim event is not gonna be triggered here. So I think I like taking Venezuela and Egypt with Brezhnev. I don't think we're holding Brezhnev this turn. You could hold grain here, but I don't think you want to do that either because I think you want to space it. You can't space puppets and hope to miss because then you're holding on unspaceable grain. So we can't do that. So I think you've got to space grain, hold puppets. No. Take Egypt. Egypt seems much better here with Sadat and Nasser both gone. No, this is Venezuela and Egypt. Nasser and Sadat both out of the deck. I think you don't, and Missile Envy's gone. You have a 4-up. You do not need to overprotect Venezuela yet. And there's no way Venezuela's getting jammed anyway. Okay, all right. So I guess the plan here is if Spain decides they want to take Egypt, you trigger Muslims. Yeah, you do have to prep for Panama Canal. I would have said that could wait, but okay, that makes sense. Now UN is gone, so it's going to be a nice 3 VP for Sweden. I would have thought that overprotection could wait, but I guess Spain is not, very unlikely to put 3 into Egypt here. And if they do, you can take them right back out with the Muslim event. So, okay. All right, there's NATO. Oh, a jam of Chile. Okay, well, guess we're going to repair that with Muslim and put the other into Egypt. South America, the only unscored region other than Asia, which is in our hand, and then Southeast Asia is nothing, but unlikely to change. Of course, CRGs is around. Now, Sweden perhaps with designs on winning the game this turn. If they can get South America, if Spain has South America and they get it off for 5, OPEC for 4, and Willie would be GG, assuming no VPs in the American hand. No space VPs to be had by either one. Yep. Chat pointing out correctly that Millops is a concern here for Team Sweden. They don't have any. And there's CRG, which is annoying. And yeah, I think you're gonna have to concede, because I think you really want to get OPEC off for the event here. It's 4 VPs. So yeah, I think it's that, and then it's, do you protect the battleground? I mean, Southeast Asia probably just about to be scored, so you do want to protect Laos, but man, I think you got to protect Nigeria more. It's the crucial third battleground in Africa, even though Africa is scored. Puppets might give Millops, but I don't think we're triggering it here. So Spain with some cards here that are that can bother Team Sweden a little bit. Okay, there's just a 1-op. They're going to take that. So yeah, let's get the scoring off for 1 VP before Spain takes Japan back. So they did get 1 out of Asia, and so that obviously they didn't need the 1 out of Willie. So OPEC, Salt event for Brush. So 3 power cards, about to be 4, and they got all 3 of the traditional power cards plus Missile Envy plus Salt. So that is 5. All 5 of the key mid-war neutrals go to Team Spain, along with, I believe, 1 small step, which would be the 6th. I think I'm just scoring OPEC here. It's 4 VP. I think I really want 4 VP. Yeah, it's 4 VP. You can't turn down 4 VP. So here's a Brush. Should be Brazil again, and this time they hit it. Okay, and yep, got a Space Grain. And they hit that. So now Puppets is unspaceable. And I'm guessing Team Sweden will go ahead and trigger Puppets here, painful though as it is, and which may... I suppose they could trigger Panama instead, leave Panama at 2-3, and use the 1-op to coup Angola. If Spain had South America, they would be dumping it here. They don't. Okay, that's a weird play, but I guess it does make sense because now you have to see. We're going to see a coup here from Team Sweden. They have to, otherwise they're conceding the 4 VP they just got from OPEC. That's a good play. So you could see a coup here, and then you might even see Spain use China to take Chile and go ahead in battlegrounds in South America. Yeah, puppets is painful here. There's the only battlegrounds available are in the Middle East. So you could see. I suspect we will see one Saudi, maybe one at least one in Central, maybe one Peru. A lot of good choices here. This is a bad puppets to give, but it's not devastating by any means. And yeah, Anton pointing out correctly that Sweden controlled South America at the start of this turn, but ABM flipped Argentina, Brush flipped Brazil, and now Chile is in big trouble as well. Okay, yeah, I thought we might see that, and yeah, they're going to want a coup. They would want to coup a non-battleground to save Cuba, but instead they coup Angola. Oh, and they get a big roll there. That saves a VP on top of flipping Angola. And now we'll see what Spain wants to do. They could dump Lone Gunman here. No, we're just going to play a 2-op to take South America domination. Okay. And here we are, turn 7. And Spain gets the scoring. I believe Spain also with Kennedy. I believe Spain also with Gunman. So we'll see Kennedy at some point this turn. Sweden does get cultural. And Sock Govs, an important card here as well. That would flip over Italy. So we'll see if Spain gets punished for leaving Italy at 3. At the start of the game, they were able to go 3-3-2 because they had Marshall. And Italy has been left at 3 the entire game. And so we will see if Sweden decides they're going to go ahead and flip. Oh, and an ABM redraw. So we had a junta, then a brush, which missed. A junta that missed, a brush that missed, ABM that hit, then assault for brush. So it's that's a 4 power cards for 4 uses of power cards for Spain. And now 5 with an ABM redraw. So that's a heck of a redraw. And yes, Gunman, Quagmire, Allende, and South America scoring along with Southeast Asia scoring in the Spanish hand. So Sock Govs is interesting, but ABM can stop the Italy flip. Decall is interesting with Southeast Asia in Spain's hand, but if Southeast Asia goes sideways, Spain can just dump it with Kennedy. They're certainly going to be triggering Kennedy this turn, I would think, because I would expect Sweden to trigger cultural. Yeah. Sock Govs into Duck taking Italy was a great play before the ABM before that ABM redraw. So I think Sock Govs probably still fine just to threaten that. So Sock Gov, you do Sock Govs, that's going to force Spain. So Sock Govs, yeah, we'll take 2 out of Italy. So I think this is going to force Spain not to coup. Right? So Spain has to place ops here. They're going to have to place 1 into Italy, and they might do something like put the other 3 into Chile. And then we could, not saying we will, but we could see a duck coup to deny Spain a coup. Of course, that does concede 2 VPs. EEU is not really a problem here on turn 7. Okay, and that's exactly what they do. Is they put the 4th in Italy and then 3 Chile. So if you duck coup Brazil, though, you need a 6 to flip it. So very important redraw there by Spain, down 13 VPs. So a duck coup makes sense here, but duck is also your best space card. EEU, yeah, you're going to have to repair Poland. Oh, Oh, and they flip Italy. Oh my goodness, they do. If DEFCON is at 5 and they try the coup on Italy, they roll a 5 and flip it. Wow, what a huge moment in this game. Yeah, sorry, folks. I had forgotten that DEFCON was at 5. My mistake on that. I thought it was only at 4. But of course, it started the turn at 4 and then went to 5 with ABM. So my fault on that. I had been thinking DEFCON was at 4. But not knowing what level DEFCON is a great way to lose a game of Twilight Struggle. So thank you for correcting me in the chat. But that is a huge, huge Italy flip. Wow. And now Spain taking its coup. They do flip over Nigeria. Decall is going to be annoying here. One Nigeria, one Algeria, two Southeast Asia makes sense. Make Spain fix up those countries and then score Southeast. Just want to put a lot of pressure on them before, because they've got a scoring to deal with. They've got at least one scoring to deal with, maybe two. And then they've got to get Kennedy off. Because, they still have Gunman, they have Quagmire, and they have Allende. All three cards they do not want to play along with Kennedy. So Kennedy's definitely getting triggered this turn. There's no question. Okay, so there's the decall. They decide not to go into Nigeria, instead set up realigns on Nigeria, take South Africa back, and they don't go Indonesia either. Okay, there's a 4-op. Spain takes Chile. They fix the damage. Okay, I think cultural is a fine play here. That or maybe spacing EEU. You're not stopping South America, Dom, other than by a miracle coup of Uruguay, but you'd need it. You'd need a huge roll. I think just take China. Yeah. Now I think Spain will score South America. They could play Kennedy here, but I think it's better to just score South. Yep, score South. Portuguese will save Cuba. I like that play. I like saving Cuba here. Yep. Oh, and a big roll to get Haiti up to 5. That also takes Central Dom. I have a feeling Spain will ignore that and score Southeast Asia. Either score Southeast Asia for 2 or trigger Kennedy. Yep, there it is. They're going to take their 2 VP, get things under War Games range at the moment. EEU, not really a huge problem here, but I think I'd space it because you're going to have to repair at least one of the ops, and East Germany at 6 is better than East Germany at 5. I think I like spacing EEU. Of course though, you want to put pressure on Spain, so because they are going to have to play Kennedy. I believe their hand is Kennedy, Quagmire, Allende, and Gunman. So they have to play Kennedy this turn. This AR, rather. Yeah, there it is. Dumping 3 cards. I somehow doubt that they drew 3 scorings here. So take Egypt back over, protect Italy. That makes sense. Sadat and Nasser both gone, like I said. And then you certainly do not want to give EEU, hold on to EEU. I think this is going to have to be spaced on AR7. Unless we see a jam here, in which case you'll probably see it triggered. Ooh, okay. And that steals back China. So that's a nice redraw with Kennedy. But not that big a deal. I mean, losing China is always annoying, but Asia domination not really in question at the moment. Sweden up 8, up 3 battlegrounds to 2, but Spain up 8 countries to 4. And everything's overprotected there. Oh, interesting. They decided to trigger EEU. I would have liked to space that. Let's see what they do with it. Obviously that. Oh, they decided to overprotect Panama. Okay, man, I would have liked to space that. Potentially get 3VP, get yourself in war games range, and then obviously leaves East Germany at 6. But I know you don't want to see a Poland jam here. You don't want to see a Poland jam, so that does make sense. Warsaw is gone. So yeah, EEU being triggered to protect Poland is odd. But okay, here we go to the late war. Dominations for Sweden in Central. Well, no longer. In Africa and the Middle East. And they are ahead in battlegrounds in Europe, but do not dominate. Oh, and there's war games. So, wow, a space. If they had spaced it and hit it, Junta would be GG. So, okay, very interesting here. And again, for those of you tracking at home, now that's 2 Juntas, 2 brushes, and 2 ABMs for Spain. I think it's libs here. I guess you could headline Europe, but I think libs is fine. Libs would be my headline to respond to the junta. South America is scored. Central is not, so libs helps you respond to this junta. Oh, well, not if that's the role. So now you've got to go, you've got to go like that and then take Mexico. Yep. So big role in Panama, but just completely neutered by libs. Yeah, so six power cards so far for Spain, none for Sweden, but Sweden has administered 2 absolutely brutal purges. Okay, just a 1 on that coup, which I'm sure Spain not thrilled about, but that's all they needed. And certainly Sweden thinking about space. Space, and space would put them in war games range, and they have it. And UN, okay, UN means they cannot hold war games. Yeah, so yeah, certainly couing Guatemala is important. Reestablishes Central Dom and protects Mexico, so makes perfect sense. But UNing, obviously nuke subs is a problem because that could flip over Africa Dom potentially. So I can understand UNing it. But obviously the play of UN means we cannot hold war games. Summit. Oh my goodness, brush war. That's 7. Oh, and they hit on Italy. Oh my goodness, they hit the roll on Italy with Europe scoring in Sweden's hand. What a moment. Wow. If they go somewhere else with that, or if they miss with that rather, then Europe scoring puts Sweden in war games range. Okay, well they get rid of Omit. Sweden still with the opportunity to get war games off before Europe if they can hit this space roll. Chat talking about space because they were rolling at +1. Now they're not. Oh, and they missed the space roll. Okay, game looking a lot more even now. Okay, there's North Sea for the event. canceling OPEC is valuable here. OPEC's 4 VPs, even if Spain doesn't want to take an extra AR. Okay, now Sweden has to give Europe for 5 VPs, and we're going to have a brand new ball game. Sweden thinking, wow, yeah, they could. So summit event would have been so interesting. You could just lose the game, of course, but if you hit, you get over War Games range, and if Spain doesn't have a VP, you just win the game immediately. Wow. Wow. Okay. And then a jam of War Games into France. Oh no, no, Anton. A tie is no good for Spain. A tie is would leave them at 1-1-1. That would mean we're tied with them and we beat them head to head. So a tie would eliminate them. A tie would be very bad for Spain. They decide to space Che. They hit the roll, or excuse me, they miss the roll. Now we will see the AR8 from Spain. OPEC would be a funny play here. Oh, and there's the VP. Okay. Africa and Central are the two scorings that you want to see here. Grain is not the headline you want to see, though. So I wonder if we will see a CMC headline here to protect Africa. We Will Bury You is gone, so Missile Envy is fine too. But if you don't headline CMC, you're giving up a coup here. I think it's got to be CMC. Missile Envy is safe. I just don't think it's particularly good. Yeah, CMC is the play, and there it goes. And Missile Envy, which would pull NORAD if evented, and I think they may just trigger it here. But they won't unless they have Cal in their hand, because Cal obviously would be GG. Duck is gone. So 2 ABMs, 2 Juntas, and 3 brushes for Spain. And we'll see what Spain wants to do with Missile Envy. If they don't have Cal in there, Duck is gone, but if they don't have Cal in their hand, I can't imagine they would take the risk of eventing Missile Envy. Maybe you try a long shot coup in Guatemala. Maybe you put the 2 into Japan. No, they're going to stop Africa Dom. That's a good play. Okay. Well, given that you can't score Africa now, I might just score Central. Oh, thinking about eventing Yuri is interesting. No, they're thinking about a coup. I would rather just dump Central. Okay, well, that didn't work. I would rather just dump Central. You've got 2 regions to score. Just score one of them and then spend your later time fighting for Africa, particularly because Central's some nice VPs for you right now, and Spain could have terrorism. So I would have just liked scoring right away. That the influence in Cameroon wasn't threatening realigns or anything like that. There's also was going to be a coup war, a big coup war turn, so a Yuri event could have been interesting. But I think just using its ops to coup is fine too. Okay, so Sweden leads by a VP here. Spain with 2 dominations on the board. Sweden with 3. And 2 favorable scoring cards in Sweden's hand. Still like Sweden's chances here. Still very much like Sweden's chances here, particularly given that they're ahead in space, and now grain sales is gone. Purge is still around, though, so we'll see. Oh, and there's terrorism, and it hits NORAD. Okay, so that's a big sigh of relief from Team Sweden. Yeah, I really would have liked to score Central here for Central first for just that reason. But terrorism hits NORAD. Now we'll see Bear Trap spaced, and Sweden will have to miss an AR here. Okay, just one op for kitchen. That to remove CMC, of course. Okay. Now they do get Central off, so now Sweden up 10 VPs. There goes CMC. Okay, Glasnost, that's going to give up an additional 2 VPs. And a 1 in Egypt. That could have, that could have been used in Africa before the scoring. That would have been huge. But yeah, they had to fill up Turkey first. Okay, and so there goes special. That's not really going to do anything. Although it's going to go into Canada, but NORAD was pulled with terrorism. So, okay, Sweden with a 12 VP net lead now to go with their 3 dominations. Yeah, this looking very good. Very, very good for Team Sweden now. Cal is still around. Tear Down is still around. Chernobyl, Solidarity. So there are paths for Team Spain, and they're going to space and miss. And of course, Purge looms large. So a Purge with Teardown in Sweden's hand, and then a Chernobyl perhaps in Spain's is interesting. Yeah, I guess you've got to protect Thailand there, but yeah, I think I like Poland here, yeah. Especially because you've got to eat back-to-back ARs for the second turn in a row. North Sea was triggered by Spain last turn, so now back-to-back ARs for Spain. Spain also has China. So yeah, DEFCON threat only Cal. Star Wars obviously inactive. Cal is around. Oh, very interesting voice. Okay, there goes Middle East. So they get Middle East off for even. Oh my goodness, this is a monster. Purge and Aldrich, along with Cal, and no other problems. This is GG, folks. Yeah, Chernobyl is nice, but it's not going to matter after Purge. Yep, I think it's Purge, and then I think I might even give up the coup here and trigger. Oh no, okay, it's Aldrich first to figure out what we need. Okay, yeah, they don't have Teardown. So yeah, Alliance is 4 VPs, so I guess it's that. OPEC is inactive. Iranian hostage crisis does nothing. Cambridge 5 is inactive. AI war is inactive. But this is not a hand that is going to win the game. So yeah, I think it's no solidarity either. So I think you dump Alliance. I think you play Cal for ops, and then you can purge AR2. I think you can wait. I think you can wait an AR on the purge. Well, no, because you don't want to lose. You don't want to lose Thailand here. Yeah. No, this is fine. Yeah, Cal for ops. You don't coup. Cal for ops. Take back Thailand. Overprotect it, and then you can overprotect both Angola and Zaire. AR2, you purge them, and that's GG. Oh, interesting. Chernobyl goes Asia, not Europe. Nope. Never mind. Chernobyl goes Asia and not Europe. I always, of course, assumed that it went Europe, but it went Asia instead. So we cannot take Thailand back. Sweden will get Asia domination. So instead, yeah, you go ahead and take your coup, get your mill ops. You can space Cal for 3 VPs. That maybe you'll get arms race off. So that will be a third domination for Sweden, or excuse me, for Spain. But this should mean, okay, there's OPEC, which is inactive. That could have been used to take Libya, but okay. There goes Purge. Now we'll, I would have thought Cal for Ops would have been fine, just to help shore up Africa and the Middle East. But I get it. You want to space Cal. That's fine. Okay, there's a 1-op coup, and misses on the roll. Now I think this is arms race for VPs. Yep, just go ahead and trigger that. Pick up 3 more VPs, because why not? Cal has to be spaced. And then you'll give up defectors and hold Nixon here. Oh, and another one. So, yeah, three purges. Sweden administers 3 very tough purges in this one. But I believe 7 power cards for Spain, 3 brushes, 2 ABMs, and 2 juntas. There it is. Spain finally hits that 3rd space. Doesn't matter, though. This should take Libya and Egypt back. De Gaulle event's not going to do much for us. Just take back Libya and Egypt. Oh, they're going to space for 3 VPs, which gets them to 18, puts them on the doorstep. No path to more, though. I think you just allow those realigns. You're up 18 VP. Just take Libya and Egypt back. Just allow the realigns. Okay, well, or don't. That is fine too. Okay. Flip of Zaire. Yeah, it stops down, but just one. Fix that with just 1 op. Yeah, break of Cuba is good, but a break of Angola is just as good here. I don't think this matters. De Gaulle does break Europe, but it can be fixed by just one op. I think this has got to be South Africa for sure to reestablish Africa Dom. And then I think Angola. Or, no, yeah, Egypt. Yeah, this makes sense. So Spain doing the math. 3 DOMs on the board. So 5 in Europe. 5 as well in Asia, and then another 5 in South America is 15, plus 1 for China is 16 for Spain. But then Middle East 3, Africa 4, and Central 5. So 12 on the board for Sweden. So plus 4, yeah, and then they've got to give China. What's this going to do? Stop Africa Dom and Middle East Dom. So 8 VP in final, and congratulations to Team Sweden. They win. That's a huge victory for them. They go to 1-0-1. And that's a big win for them. A big result for Team USA as well. Team USA now ahead of Sweden on turn score. So Team Spain has been eliminated from Nations Cup. Sweden will play Belarus. The winner of that game, I believe that game is happening on Sunday. The winner of that will advance along with Team USA. Team USA will advance in the second slot, and the winner of that game will advance in the first slot. However, there is, of course, the possibility of a draw. And if that game ends in a draw, Sweden would be 1-0-2 and win the group. Belarus and Team USA would both be 1-1-1. And since Belarus beat Team USA head-to-head, Belarus would advance. So Team USA will advance as long as there is not a tie, and along with the winner of the Sweden-Belarus game. So, thank you for watching. This was an interesting game, a fun one to watch. 3 purges for Sweden compared to 7 power cards for Team Spain. So, quite an interesting contrast there. Thank you for tuning in. And I'm not sure when the next broadcast will be. Atlantic League group play is winding down. My OTSL regular season's finished. That playoffs won't start there until mid-October. So not quite sure when we'll see the next broadcast. But in the meantime, glad you're able to join. Congratulations to Anton for this nice win, and for the rest of Team Sweden. Until next time, this is Justin Abramson. That was fun, but now it's done. So long, everybody.